Hello, welcome back to episode 5 of my NBA 2K22 Toronto Raptors MyGM series. The NBA is back, man. I've been watching the preseason and it's just made me even more excited to jump back in today. What better way to get started than to kick off with our big trade. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a Toronto Raptor. We ended up extending the deal to a 5-team trade, which is insane, I know. It was probably the biggest trade of the entire offseason, if it wasn't already one of the biggest trades over the past few years. The 5 teams involved in the deal were us, the Thunder, the Kings, the Pacers, and the Mavericks. Listen, we're losing key parts of our team with Siakam and Van Vliet leaving, but we're getting back solid starters in Buddy Hield, Myles Turner, Caris LeVert, plus a young star in the making with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Let's start with Myles Turner. We're getting a premium shot blocker and someone who can space the floor reasonably well. He fits the mold of a traditional center, which is something that I've harped on about way too much. I mean, it was one of our biggest weaknesses in preseason, which kind of followed us into the regular season. If it weren't for Buddy Hield's big contract, he'd fit in as a plug-and-play guy on pretty much any roster. He's one of the top shooters in the league and can hold his own on the defensive end as well. Caris LeVert has struggled with freak injuries throughout his career, so we might have to be a bit careful in managing him. Regardless, he's a certified bucket and can score in isolation situations really well. This will be really valuable, especially down the stretch of close games. While he tore his Achilles during the off-season, we are getting an interesting piece in Edmond Sumner. He's not going to be playing this year, he'll be recovering, but he'll be a really cool addition for next year. Finally, let's talk about Shai. He came at a really hefty price for us, however, we're getting someone who has the potential to be a legitimate superstar. I mean, he led his OKC team in scoring while he was playing with Chris Paul, so I have no doubt that he'll be able to facilitate, share that rock around, and also score alongside the other guys on the squad. He's still 23 and is under a max rookie scale contract extension, meaning he's here to stay. Along with our other acquisitions, the lack of cap room will make free agency next year a bit of a struggle, but I mean, I think this core can fill out itself without the help of big name free agents. The main role of the Thunder in this trade is for them to keep stockpiling as many assets as they can. I reckon they did a really good job at this, bringing in bright futures with Gary Trent Jr. and Malachi Flynn, topped off with quite a few draft picks. I think they end up with 20 first rounders up until 2026 now, which is just insane. At the end of the day, Shai simply wasn't on their timeline, and since the Thunder aren't ready to compete, we can basically bring him to an environment where he can thrive. The Kings are trading Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley, both of whom have been relegated to the bench and kind of tied in together with trade rumours in an attempt to bolster their front court. Ultimately, we give up our best player in Pascal Siakam, who finds a new home on the West Coast. This gives him the opportunity to lead the team tied for the longest playoff drought in NBA history to the playoffs. With a rising star in De'Aaron Fox, Pascal is going to be able to come in and create a really formidable duo, as that squad tries to make a huge jump to the playoffs. The Kings aren't the only ones making a jump to the playoffs, the Pacers are also in that conversation. They bring in 2 players who have been fringe all-stars over the past few years in Porzingis and Van Vliet. This gives them a huge boost in their scoring potential around their starting 5. I mean, you could even argue that their defense gets better with Porzingis' amazing rim protection and Van Vliet's scrappy defense. Both of these guys are on 3-year contracts, meaning the Pacers can have faith that they've got a really good core locked up, all sitting around that sweet 25 to 30-year-old age bracket. They also get our disgruntled Svi Mykhailiuk, who can really bolster that bench unit. Finally, the Mavericks. They really struggled in the playoffs last year as Luka tried carrying an immense load once again. There have been talks about friction between Luka and Porzingis as well, which is partially where this deal stemmed from. They shed Porzingis' monster contract and bring in Goran Dragic, who is a fellow Slovenian, who can come in as a secondary ball handler and playmaker. Jeremy Lamb joins the team as a solid 3-and-D guy, while Marvin Bagley can be a project for Dallas with the amount of potential that he has in his game. All 3 of the Mavericks' new players are on 1-year contracts as well. That means that after this season, the Mavs can use all of their cap space to try and secure a second superstar, or just build a really solid starting 5 around their generational talent. So that's a wrap. That's the extent of the trade we made. I think our biggest problem moving forward is going to be chemistry. We're going to need to build that back up, considering we've probably lost a lot of it with so many players on the move. Regardless, hopefully we're on our way to a play-in spot. We've got a lot of work to do at such a low seed, but I'm really excited to see what this team can do.